Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to your Tuesday night episode of Unscripted live here on Facebook at Unscripted. We're also live on the All Sports, All Plays Network on Facebook and on YouTube. Please go check them out. They've got a ton of amazing content covering anything and everything sports related. I'm your host and producer tonight, Logan Landers, and joining me is my casting crew, of course. My main two guys, we got Jay McLovin. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how about them dogs?
Yes, sir. We'll get to them in just a second. And, of course, Frankie C. Currently with no face right now. We'll just look at that beautiful mugshot right there. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Glad to be back. Missed you guys over the weekend.
We missed you too, Frankie. We were talking about you on Saturday, man. We needed you for that show. We had a great show, me and Jay did. And tonight it is a special night because we have finally crowned the Unscripted Fantasy Football Champion. And I've got a little special presentation. Got some music that, of course, I don't own. I'm just going to go throw that out there. But here it is, our intro for the champion, Mr. Brady Tinker. Here we go, everyone. Coming down the aisle, the Unscripted Fantasy Football Champion of 2021-22, Mr. Brady Tinker.
Well, you haven't sent me my trophy yet, so I just grabbed one of the minis that I have behind me.
I'm working on the budget. We're working on the budget.
Yeah. We got to get everything sorted out here with the show budget. But
Listen,
Mr. Tinker, welcome to the show.
You guys, I got lucky because there's so much luck involved. I love my team, and then it was the screwiest year ever. But look at it this way: you guys barely lost to the guy who did the first 4 seasons of the first ever fantasy football TV shows. Right?
That is true. You did have some experience, and you came out on top, beating Jay McLovin with the McLovins by a score of 138.36 to 106.14. So, Jay, as the second place winner, describe how it went, man. I know you didn't have a lineup all that you wanted. Give me your emotions. It's been a couple of days to process it now. How are you doing? Have you been to therapy yet? And what's the move going forward?
Yeah, especially when I had Waddle, and I think I had one other guy that had about 20 points. And, not that I still would have lost, but at least would have looked a little bit better at 138, 126 than 106. But, hey, it was good. If I'm going to lose to anybody, I'm going to lose to Brady Tinker. The guy has no TV show. I can't compete with that. So, but I feel good about myself because I drafted at the 7th spot or 9th spot. No, I drafted at the 9th spot. So I felt good with what I got and what I put up against Brady Tinker. And, hey, look, we were left a little bit right. We could have got it. But, hey, I got to take my hat to Brady Tinker.
Any given Sunday.
Well, the top 4 teams were all really good teams. They really were. The top, any of the top 4 teams could have won.
Yes, and of course the 3rd seed is Frankie C with his Cowboys sucks. He came in 4th place. He lost to Brandon Herrera and the Minnesota Flea Flickers by a score of 126-52 to 110-42. Frankie, what'd you think? I know it was a close game. But hey, 4th place, two of the 4 guys, main people on Unscripted, were in the Final 4. So I'm happy to say that we did a good job representing the show. Frankie, what were your thoughts, buddy?
Man, it was a good season. Really good season. we had some ups, we had some downs. I had a good winning streak in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
It wasn't a really good ending to my season. Obviously, I felt like the New England Patriots when I had to go up against like top team players. You know, I had to go up against Minnesota. Then after that, I had to go up against Jay. So, you know, I had to go up against some top team people at the end of the season, and it didn't work out very well. But like Logan said, man, 2 of us out of the entire Unscripted crew, we fought to the very end. We really did, and it came up to Jay. And Jay just came up short, and
you blew it.
Congratulations
I know,
to Brady.
I know.
First ever unscripted fantasy football champion, and I just can't wait for next year when I redeem myself and become the
revenge
champion.
tour. And of course, that means
harder on Jay because Jay
was right there.
Jay, it just sucks, man. You're a runner-up on everything. Yeah. Houston Astros, runners-up. You know,
Frankie, I'm used to being runner-ups. I was a runner-up at my own wedding, man. I don't want to hear that. Okay, the guy backed out, and she said, "You're up next." I'm not wasting the whole reception hall fee. So hey, it is what it is.
And now, of course, this means since Mr. Brady Tinker has won the Unscripted Fantasy Championship, he now gets to host a show of his own in the near future and pick all the topics he wants. So that will be coming up to you guys. And on a later date, we'll get all that sorted out behind the scenes. And it's going to be a good show. But that is the conclusion. Thanks to everyone who participated in the 2021-2022 Unscripted Fantasy Sports League. Definitely be doing it next year for football. We might throw some other sports in there. We'll see. But, hey, it was a great job altogether. We have some comments here, Jay, from Dustin Reese saying, "What's going on, Jay? My brother from another mother." Mm-hmm. And he's just saying also on YouTube as well. We're getting to 2 comments here from the same person on 2 different platforms. That's how much love we're getting here. Saying, "Jay, you are a busy man."
Jay is a busy man, man.
He is.
I feel like every time ASAP Network is alive,
I see Jay's
on there.
I see Jay's beard on there, so I know that he's always putting in some work. But all right, guys, let's get into it. The playoffs are now set for the NFL. We've got we have our first super wild card weekend, right? We've got the Raiders, the Bengals, the Cardinals, the Rams. I see the Niners, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Bucks, the Packers have a bye. The Titans have a bye. We got the Bills. We got the amazing, of course, the Patriots, as Frankie would always say. And Ben Roethlisberger trying to get another glory run going with the Steelers. The Raiders' biggest the Steelers were probably sending beers, flowers to all the Raiders fans and the KC Chiefs. So let's get into it. Mr. Tinker, we're starting things off. What do you think about these playoffs, and who do you think might prevail in the end?
Wide open, to be honest with you. Let's start with the NFC, where I live most of the time work-wise. I believe, I guess, the Packers are the favorite, but Aaron's got 3 MVPs, maybe 4 this year, although if it was me, I'd vote Tom Brady as MVP this year. But I think the Packers, the Bucks, the Cowboys, and the Rams can all go to the NFC or championship and go to the Super Bowl. I think they're all 4 well-balanced enough across the board, offense, defense, and special teams, that now you're just looking at a run. You're looking at who's really committed enough to not get COVID. I mean, we've got CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper everywhere. They were at Dirk's last game the other night, sitting courtside with 20,000 people unmasked. So listen, you can't tell them they can't go, I guess. But when does it kick in for all of these guys that winning a Super Bowl and getting into the playoffs, the exposure they're getting as individuals, not just as teams, the exposure they're getting as individuals offers them, money opportunities for the rest of their careers to be able to speak and show up because they played on good teams. I mean, whatever. It's hard to tell young people anything, and it was hard to tell me anything at that age, and I didn't have millions of dollars. So, but COVID is going to be a player in this. There's no way they're not, and I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't take Aaron Rodgers, unvaccinated Aaron Rodgers, out of a Green Bay game. Mm-hmm. That's going to suck. That's going to suck for all of us, who want to see the best games and who want to see the best players. But I would imagine it's going to happen to some level. And then when you look at the AFC, I still think Kansas City's probably the favorite. I can't believe I'm saying that after where they were in Week 7 as the 30th ranked defense. But they've turned it around, and they're very well balanced too. Kansas City and Dallas remind me kind of each other. Very good offenses, defenses are pretty darn good, and both of them force a ton of turnovers. And then both of them can play on special teams. So those two teams kind of remind me of each other. The difference is the Chiefs have Mahomes, and there's a balance there between Mahomes and Dak. There just is. I think it was a great break for Kansas City to see San Diego lose. The Chargers probably should have beaten the Chiefs both times this year. The Chargers coach really kept them out of the playoffs in that Kansas City game. If you remember that last Kansas City game, like in weeks 15, they were ahead the entire game, but they had 3 trips inside the 5-yard line where they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it. So they scored 30 points, and a field goal in any of those 3 other trips would have won them that game, and they'd be in the playoffs now. And I didn't think the Chiefs wanted any part of San Diego for a 3rd time this year. So drawing Pittsburgh, while Pittsburgh's defense will stand up, Ben can't throw the ball from you to me. So they cannot hold up and score enough points to win that game. So Kansas City's my favorite. Tennessee is certainly a sleeper. They didn't do great while Derrick Henry was gone, but they did good enough. And then they got lucky with the Chiefs losing to Cincinnati and get the number 1 seed. Derrick Henry back, and we don't know what Derrick Henry's going to be. But if that's Derrick Henry coming back, the Titans can win too, because they've got a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
Pretty good defense. When Henry's running the football good, play action pass works all over the place. Both their receivers are healthy. They scare me. Buffalo is interesting still too, because do you know that in Buffalo's victories this year, however many there were, 10 or 11, they won by an average of 16 points a game in their victories.
Mm-hmm.
So as a matter of fact, I think Buffalo was number 1 in the AFC in plus minus, I think. And that's because when Buffalo gets hot, they beat the crap out of people. And so that's a scary team too. You don't want to end up in Buffalo in that snow.
Close your ears, Frankie.
Yeah, you don't want to end up in Buffalo in that snow. I don't think the Patriots can do it. I don't think the Bengals can do it. So I think it's Kansas City, Buffalo, or Tennessee coming out of the AFC for me.
Okay, not bad. Frankie, I'll let you go first. What you got, man? I know you got the Pats going all the way, right?
Definitely not. No. As much as I love my Patriots, I don't believe in Mac Jones taking us to the Super Bowl. Listen, I'm glad that my Patriots are even in the playoffs, A lot of people thought that we were going to make it, and we fought for the Buffalo.
It's been a good year.
And we fought with Buffalo to the very end for the divisional title. So it shows a lot for Mac Jones in the near future and what he's going to do in New England. So I'm really pumped to see the future with this kid. As the game comes for Saturday night, I'm seeing that we're getting a heavy snow again in Buffalo. So hopefully that be a factor in our play again, because I believe it was week 14, we played Buffalo in Buffalo with the winds crazy, and my man Mac Jones, he made history by throwing only 4 passes and completing 3 of them. So I don't know what other quarterback can do that and walk away with a win.
Shoulder break.
Hopefully we can prevail and knock out Buffalo and move on to the next round. If not, I'll be okay with it. Like I said, I'm just glad we're back in the playoffs.
Yeah.
With the Kansas City Chiefs, I do agree. I think they're going to knock the Steelers out within the second quarter. By the second quarter comes, we're going to see the Chiefs already being told that they're going to the divisional round. The one game I am excited for, honestly, is your team, Logan. I would like to see the Raiders versus the Bengals. That's going to be an amazing matchup. I believe that game right there is the game to watch. NFC side, I like to see the Rams and the Cardinals again. That's going to be a good game. Honestly, this is a divisional matchup, just like the Patriots and the Bills. This is the trilogy right here with these two teams. Yeah. The 49ers and the Cowboys, that's a very interesting game. Now, everybody thinks that the Cowboys, yes, they're red hot, and I'm not going to put your team down, Jay, or nothing like that. But do not sleep on the 49ers. Deebo Samuels is someone not to mess with. He did say that they were going to sweep the LA Rams, and that's exactly what they did. So do not sleep on the 49ers. Anything can happen. I believe, that the Cowboys are a better team moving into this game. We expect the Cowboys to blow the 49ers out. But like I said, don't sleep on the 49ers. I can see this upset happening. And
I don't expect that blowout at all, being a guy who's covering this Cowboys team. That Niner team can play defense. They will be in those passing lanes, and they can get pressure with 4. When you can get pressure with 4 and they can drop everybody else in front, I hope that the Cowboys get more creative. One of the things that slowed them down in the second half, besides Dak being a little bit off, was there's very little motion with that offense. So he's just lining Amari Cooper up, and he's lining CeeDee Lamb up, and these guys are pressing and getting hands on them, knocking them off the timing of the route. And Dak wants everything to be timed, right? He wants 1, 2, 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out. And all you got to do is put them in motion some more, move them around a little bit, and get them some more clean releases. And they really almost stopped doing it. And to be honest with you, the offensive coordinator's job in the first 8 weeks of the season was phenomenal. He's going to get a head coaching job. And in the last 8 weeks, it was very suspect between he and McCarthy's very involved in that too. Right. But I'm with you. An upset will not shock me. Basically, there's not an upset here that would shock me on either side of this docket. The way this season has gone, tell me who. I mean, I still thought Tampa was a clear, favorite going in. I sort of thought it was going to be Tampa and KC again, and I was going to watch my Chiefs lose again. But with the skill position players he lost, it's going to be much tougher for them, and they're missing a linebacker. But there's nothing here that would shock me. If Arizona had D-Hop, I would tell you they have a chance to go too.
Yep.
So,
we got a comment here from Dustin saying, the Cowboys are a good team. They have talent on both sides of the ball. They have multiple difference makers. The 49ers have Kittle and Debo, but I still think that Dallas wins by 10 plus. I know Jay's happy to see that. And speaking of that, Jay, time for your predictions.
I don't think you guys win, honestly.
Well, stop thinking. Stop thinking. Just let nature happen. That's your problem. You think too much. Stop thinking.
Stop. What they saying? Tin Cup. Stop thinking. It can only hurt the team.
It can only. Mike.
Give me your predictions, Jay.
Hey, I feel like I'm gonna go quick. Hey, here's my thing. I think Tennessee, like to Brady's point, man. If Travis Henry comes back and he is a Travis Henry that left, there's no doubt that Tennessee is going to be, in my opinion, one of the more formidable teams. I think KC beats, to Brady Ticker's point, Ben Roethlisberger can't throw from here to there. So I think Kansas City beats the Steelers. I think Buffalo, New England, whatever. I don't care which team comes out of it. They're not going to be able to match up with Tennessee. So whatever team matches. I think the Bengals are going to beat the Raiders, honestly. I think Joey Burrow and Jamar Chase have such a good chemistry, and I think that team is just rolling, especially after what they did with Kansas City, and the amount of yards that he threw against Kansas City. That was to me, that was a game changer game for me. I wanted to see what Joe Burrow could do against the upper echelon teams. So for me personally, I got Tennessee and the Bengals in the AFC, and I think the Tennessee Titans make it to the Super Bowl. On the NFC side of it, I'm looking at Tampa with all of the injuries that they've taken on. Let me tell you something. Tampa's not going to go anywhere. They're going to play well. I think Tampa and Green Bay are going to link up. But I think Green Bay is going to be too much for Tampa and their injuries. They don't have they lost Fournette. They lost Godwin. They lost AB. They got Perryman, and they got Evans, which is a north-south one. But they don't have the slant guy anymore. And everybody knows Tom Brady, he likes to dump the ball off either in the flat or the slant, whatever. But it doesn't go truly deep anymore, which is why I think AB, and I have AB, even though all of AB's issues really hurts them. So right now, but I do see them beating the Eagles. God forbid. The Eagles are just done. I mean, after what Dallas shellacked them, the Eagles just don't have it this year. So Tampa beats the Eagles, and they're going to face Green Bay. Dallas, I think, with the mega three monster between Lawrence and Parsons and Gregory, and then you throw in Trayvon Diggs out in the backfield. I think their defense is going to be sweltering on 49ers. And I do think that Dak, as long as he keeps like Brady Ticker was saying, keeps that mental edge and gets back and keeps playing his football game. Now, yeah, I do agree they need to put more motion into it. But I think that Dak, they got enough offensive weapons and that two-headed monster at the run game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either. I think it's going to be a very good game, but that is a damn good-ass rival that has been going on for a long time, and I like to see a good Cowboys-49ers rival game. But I think Dallas comes out of it. I think L.A. takes out the Cards because I don't believe in the Cards all that well. And I think it's going to be L.A. I'm going to go I'm going to go down. I'm going to believe in my Cowboys this year. I'm going to go Dallas and Green Bay. And I believe that Dallas is going to take it home and Dallas-Tennessee matchup, baby.
All right, there you go. We have a few comments here. Dustin saying the Chiefs and the Rams in the Super Bowl. So that's an interesting pick there.
I like
Daniel
that.
saying
That's a
don't sleep on the GOAT with the Bucks.
Definitely
All right, my
don't.
predictions. All right, for the AFC, I got, of course, man, the Cinderella team, right? But a Cinderella with fire and brimstone behind them with the Raiders and the best Week 18 matchup we've ever seen in NFL history. It's only been 1 year, but I'll take it. So, man, that game against the Chargers, crazy. Got the win, got in the playoffs. Them and the Bengals are going to duke it out. That's going to be a game I can't wait to watch. Two young teams, right? And, man, I think the Raiders continue. I got to respect my team. I think they're going to go forward, shock the world, keep things going. They've done it a lot this season. I got them beating the Bengals in an upset. All right, for the Patriots and the Bills, that's a tough one. If the conditions are what they are, again, in Buffalo, and like we saw last time, I'm going to have to give it to the Pats again, man. You would think that the Bills, hopefully, they would have a better strategy, but I think the Pats might pull off the upset. It's Bill Belichick. It's the playoffs. You know what you're going to get, and that is expertise head coaching. All right, the Steelers and the Chiefs, that's pretty much done for me already. That's a lock. Chiefs are moving on in a pretty easy victory. Ben Roethlisberger plays his final NFL game, and, you know, what a career it was. Over on the NFC, the Cardinals and the Rams, bit of a tough one here because both teams have struggled in some aspect of the game. I don't know who I trust a little bit more. I might give the slight advantage to the Rams in that one. The 49ers and the Cowboys, I'm going to give it to the Cowboys in a close victory. I think that defense shows up just a little bit more. And then for the Eagles and Bucks, I'm going to go with the Bucks and that one in a pretty easy victory. Even though the Eagles do have the best running offense in the NFL, I think the Bucks can still take it home and win at least in the first week. So then we have the Bucks and the Packers. That's where the Packers move on. I think Aaron Rodgers, well rested, looking forward. Like we said, hopefully COVID doesn't play a huge part in major players getting hurt. It probably will, but we'll see. Like you mentioned, Rodgers is unvaccinated. He might get hit with COVID. You just never know. But I think the Packs take that one, and they will go on to face, I think, the Rams going in that one in the NFC championship there. I got the Packers going all the way to the Super Bowl. In the AFC side, I'm going to go all together. I will go with the Packers and the Chiefs. I think that's what I'm going to go with for my Super Bowl preview. Packers and Chiefs.
Wow.
I said, you know how I am, Jack.
Everybody's just sleeping on Tennessee. I think everybody's sleeping on Tennessee, man. I really believe that.
I do like Tennessee. I do like Tennessee.
They're sleeping on Tennessee.
Hey, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Packer. Hey, listen. Let's go back real quick. Tennessee actually beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, they beat the hell out of them.
Yep.
And they also beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
I just want y'all to know that. Now I understand this is regular season, but hey, listen, this team. I'm telling you, hey, I think I'll look at past them.
Well, the other thing is, though, you don't know what Derrick Henry is, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think we can assume Derrick Henry is the 1968 runaway Buick that he was when he got hurt. Now, if he is, then he is, and I'm with you guys. But you know, they haven't had this cohesion, right? What are they? They're 3-5 since he got hurt, so it's not like they've been mowing people down. They've lost some games, and they look very, very beatable without him. So that's the only reason. But I led with them. If they are all things healthy, and that coach and that quarterback, you know, they played the Chiefs in the 2019 AFC Championship game. They've been a long ways. So
we got Damian coming here with the Steelers and Super Rich. He's got Steelers versus Bucks, Cowboys, Raiders, Rams, Pats, Bucks, Pats. So he's got a bunch of options to go with the Steelers all the way. He must be. He's got to be a Steelers fan. Come on.
His major option you see in there is the Bucks and the Pats.
There was another one in here with Daniel saying the Bucks and the Pats. Think of that. That would be a great story there. That would be great. I know Frankie would love it.
I would honestly. That would make me cry. I would honestly.
Oh yeah, you would know. So you're a huge Tom Brady fan, and you're obviously a Pats fan. So
yeah,
exactly. How much of a moneymaker would that be for the NFL?
Ooh,
I mean, could you imagine the ratings on that game? That's got to be high ratings.
Well, they played this year, right? Didn't they play?
Yeah, they did. That was just comeback for it.
4 or 5 point game in New England.
Yeah, that was a 2-point game.
Was it
2-point? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And a Nick Folk missed field goal at the end.
Yeah, Cowboys fans remember Nick Folk missed field goal.
All right, let's move on to college because the NCAA season has wrapped up as of last night, and we have a new national champion. The Georgia Bulldogs pulled off the big win, 33-18. And guys, the first 3 quarters, I don't know what was going on. It was just a chess match of who was going to score first. A bunch of field goals. If you pick the over in this game, I'm sorry. And it did, it was struggling, but it picked up really the late third quarter, especially in the fourth. And what a great game it ended up being. And 2 really good coaches. Kirby Smart pulled off, some will say the upset against Coach Saban, his former protege. So, man, it finally happened. Georgia snapped a 40-plus year championship drought. Last one was in 1980. 2021, they bring it back home to Athens. Mr. Tinker, what were your thoughts on the game and the Dogs being the new national champions?
Well, it's Herschel Walker in 1980 who really single-handedly got the Cowboys of the early 90s going by when they drafted him. Jimmy came in and traded Herschel Walker for what ended up being about 10 players after all was said and done, using the Rule 5 outline, right? He traded Herschel to Minnesota for 5 guys who were in Plan B, and as Plan B guys, when they fell off his team the next year, they got first and second round picks for them. So it was genius playing between the lines for Jimmy Johnson, and he built that team. But I had so much fun watching the game. There were not that many flags. I appreciated that. I think the NFL has poisoned their game, and it goes all the way back to last year's Super Bowl when there were 9 accepted penalties for 95 yards by the Buccaneers, and basically that Super Bowl was over in the first half. And I'm not saying that they won because of the penalties, but the penalties, it's too much. There are too many rules. There are too many 65 or 70-year-old white men out there running around trying to interpret what the greatest athletes in the world are doing. It's ridiculous. And there are still a massive amount of part-time officials in the NFL. And it's just hilarious. The NFL's worth billions. I mean, probably $50 billion, and they got part-time officials. It's a joke. Yeah. Go out and spend some damn money. Go out and tell everybody who ever played Division I or 2A college football and or in the NFL that if they come in and pass tests, salaries start at $100,000 and go all the way to $500,000 per season. Pay the hell out of them. Get people on that field in the NFL who understand what NFL athletes are capable of and what a penalty really is. I'm not mad at the officials. It's so convoluted that they don't know what to call. And it needs to be fixed. It's one of the things that is taking away from the great game. But sorry, back to this. I enjoyed this so much. I enjoyed the balance of it. I didn't care that I didn't think they were playing chess. I think that the athletic abilities of the 2 teams were so equal. And all I could think of the whole time was, I want my Chiefs and my Cowboys just to pick nothing but Georgia and Alabama players, because you're watching these guys and it's thoroughbreds. Look at these 6'2", 220 running like a deer, playing all these positions. I'm like, I want him and I want him. It's incredible, the athletes that these teams in the SEC get. And I'm sure that these 2 teams, and Alabama plenty of times in the last 10 years, could have beat several NFL teams. The talent that they are loaded with is absolutely incredible. So I enjoyed the heck out of it. I really did. I'm glad that the kid who had the interception at the end of the game, the ball didn't get poked away or something tragic, because the coach is chasing him down the sidelines going, fall down, fall down. That's what he was yelling at him. Get down. All you got to do is get down. We'll kneel on it and we win. But,
that was the last thing in his mind. He saw the end zone. And what a block it was at the end too. I forget the man.
By the way, that was Kylie Ringo. Kylie Ringo with a pick 6, 79 yards, longest pick 6 in championship history.
Wow. There it is.
These athletes are something else. They really are.
Jay, I've said it here on the show. Georgia has one of the best defenses, not just in the last 5-10 years, probably of all time. Because you've got. You saw in the game last night just the amount of tackles for losses, the sacks they had. Because let's forget, in the SEC championship, Georgia didn't get any sacks against Alabama. Their line was dominant. They were able to get to Bryce Young. Their defense was great. Their special teams was on point too. Like you said, they blocked that field goal that could have, I think, tied it or got within 1. So that was a big factor there. And the D-line, you've got probably all those guys going to the NFL soon with Big Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Devontae Wyatt. The list goes on and on. Just a bunch of really talented guys on Georgia. Stetson Bennett looked horrific in that first drive, right? He's got sacked, he fumbled, he got it back. It was like, oh God, is this going to be what we're going to be looking at the entire night? But much credit to him, because he had that, that call that was a fumble where the Alabama player just kind of walked up to pick up the ball even. And ended up being a fumble, which, that has some controversy behind it of was it a throw or was it not?
I still think that was a throw.
But after that, he really showed that he has a really good clutch gene. In the biggest game of his life, I know he didn't look good in the SEC championship, but that didn't matter because he pulled it off. He had some good throws. And I think really once Williams went down for Alabama, that's where their offense started to sputter, because they already had Michie out and Williams was their next go-to target. Other than that, I mean, Young was just throwing to a bunch of freshmen who I get their 5 stars, right? They're talented. There's a reason they're at Alabama, but they haven't had a whole lot of playing time. And that just really, I think, halted their offense. Brian Robinson, who did great this year, couldn't really get nothing going on the running game. And Georgia just looked a little bit better. And I mean, even Coach Saban said it in the end of the game when they shook hands. He said, "You kicked our ass in the fourth quarter," and that's what they did. And that's how that big
interception. The fourth 20.
Yep.
Let me say this. So, speaking of to your point of talent and how much they're loaded down with, they've got so much talent, Logan, that after the NCAA tournament was over, or the championship game was over with, seven players from Bama went to the transfer portal. And 2 of them went in the transport portal for Georgia. That's how much talent they have, which makes me wonder if Stetson Bennett, who has time left on his tenure there, which probably will come back next year, should JT Daniels be in the transfer portal to go get playing time somewhere else to showcase his talents?
It seems like he's never kind of gotten a fair shake, Jay, because at USC, right, it seemed like it was all his for the taking. And then Keaton Slovis, I believe, took over. He transferred to Georgia. And now, a walk-on 2-star recruiter, whatever he was, took his job, and he could never really get the reins under him. So I don't know. I mean, you might have a good point, but I think Stetson does stay and build his draft stock, because this is not a very, very high quarterback draft in 2022. There's not a lot of guys that are probably going to go early first round or nothing. So I think he should stay, maybe go in next year or the year after and see what he's got there. So I think Stetson should play. But Frankie, give me your thoughts on this game real quick here.
It was a good game. I liked it, honestly. I was at work, and I was honestly paying attention to the game more than at work. So
we were giving you updates.
But it was a really good game, man. For the head coach of Georgia, Kirby, man, he got his first win over Nick Saban at the biggest game of them all. And there's no better way to get your first win against, your what did you say, your mentor in the national championship.
Yep.
They, at the very beginning, the first half, this was all Alabama. I understand it was field goals, so it just tells you, this was a defensive first half, and it was Alabama. But somehow, some way, Georgia went into the locker room and they changed it. They came out and they
completely different game after halftime.
Yeah, they came out and they got their heads out their ass and they said, hey, "Listen, we're here to play. We're not going to be this isn't the SEC championship.
Right. Yep.
This is the championship. This is the national championship, and we need to become champions now." And they did it. They did it. Congratulations. It's hard for Bryce Young. You're still
tough loss.
You're a freshman. You're a freshman. You got 3 more years with Alabama. You're a Heisman Trophy winner in your freshman year. You got a lot of time. I still believe Alabama could come back next year and get back their title. But like Brady said, a lot of players from both Georgia and Alabama does get drafted into the NFL. And as a Patriot fan, Bill Belichick gets a lot of players from Alabama and Georgia. Our running backs, both from Andre Stevenson, he's from Georgia, and Damian Harris, he's from Alabama, and they're 2 big.
Mac Jones, Alabama,
So,
hey, if I may, real quick, let me say this. I'm gonna tell you right now, and Kirby Smart they were lucky that they won the coin toss, deferred, and took defense the first round. But I'll tell you right now, that defense for Georgia, they were locked and loaded and ready to kick some ass. They were from the very first snap of that game, all the way to the very last snap of the 2 minute. I call it the 2 minutes of desperation by Nick Saban, because he was not doing nothing but desperation throws at that point.
It was awful.
Right.
And from start to finish, that defensive was all over Bryson. Like they were all over him, like a coat on a person's body. But I will say this: even though the defense was locked and loaded at the beginning of that game, Stetson was not. Stetson was a head case, still remembering the SEC championship blowout at the beginning, to the point of, if I may, the first snap, like you said, was the first snap he was snapped. The second snap he dropped. The third snap was a delay of game, which was the first of 7 penalties. The first of 7 penalties in the first half, which means he's playing 2 and 14, 3 and 14 for pretty much most of that first half. But when they were in the locker room, I don't know what Kirby said to him, but I will say this: when they had the fumble, when he had the fumble, the controversial fumble, Stetson told his team, "Hey guys, I'm not going to let us lose this game. I'm going to make sure we win this game." And that's what they did. They went on to win it, and it was beautiful.
That's what a great game. The Georgia sports curse is over. The Braves won in October, and now now the Bulldogs won. So I told you all the Georgia sports curse. It's finally over. I can get it off my back being from Georgia my whole life. Thank God. But
and yet you're a Raiders fan. Go figure.
Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. I grew up with them, man. I got to support my team.
You do. Yeah,
hey, at least Brady Pinker has an excuse, man. He's from Kansas City, so I can't fault him for being a Chiefs fan.
All right, there you go. All right, there we go. But speaking of Mr. Tinker, thank you so much.
I'm sorry, before we move on, none of us mentioned that Jameis Williams was hurt in this game. I want to just
I said it.
I just want to give my thoughts to him. I hope he has a speedy recovery, because this is a man that was going to get drafted very high in this year's draft. He still can get drafted, but now because of his torn ACL, the question is which team is going to go ahead and sacrifice a draft pick for a person who just tore his ACL, because we don't know. After an ACL tour, it's really hard to come back and be what you were. So I just want to get my thoughts on him. I hope he has a speedy recovery.
That's a Cowboys special, by the way. If there's anybody who's drafted more hurt players in the last 10 years, it's Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, and that really kind of supports the argument of players opting out of bowl games, to forego bowl games to go into the draft. And at first, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was kind of upset. I didn't like it, because I like to see good competitive bowl games. But I will say this, like you said, Williams, in his draft stock and everything like that, and now, of course, he's hurt. What if he sits out and forgoes the national, which he wouldn't do that. But now he's ready to go for the NFL draft. So I don't know. I mean, it's such a hard thing to debate. Is it okay for players to opt out of bowl games, or should they, not be allowed to opt out for bowl games? It's such a hard thing to debate.
It's just going to keep going on for years now. I mean, there's always going to be people who are going to say, they should play in every game possible and get the trophy. And then there's some that say, keep your draft stock and be fine.
A trophy like this one.
Amen.
There it is. All right. Well, Mr. Tinker, thank you so much, man, for coming on. If you have anything you'd like to promote before you head off, please, now's the time to do so.
Well,
to our unscripted champion.
The podcast that we are doing and that I'm really proud of is called A Cowboy Life. Now, whether you're a Cowboy fan or not, these are just stories. These aren't stories of 300-yard passing games or touchdowns. These are stories of men who played for the Cowboys years ago and men who are playing for them now, telling you about people who helped them, preachers and mothers and brothers and sisters. And there's some amazing stories. There's a story on there. It's called A Cowboy Life. So you can go to acowboylife.com, or the 20 newest ones are at dallascowboys.com, and click on podcast. You'll have to go down and find A Cowboy Life. But there's some fun stuff there. There was a snowman, guy dressed in a snowman suit in a 75 playoff game that ended up on fire like a Roman candle. And we did that story called Snowman on Fire. It was during a playoff game.
Wow. I did not know that. That didn't seem to me.
But
I was 3 years old, so I guess I probably wouldn't know.
But there's some fun stories. So if you check it out, it's called A Cowboy Life. Those are my proudest moments as a creator. Thank you, guys.
Hey, before you take off on me, being that you are the fantasy league champion, you are going to be back next year, correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. I just wanted to get you on lock.
Yeah, why? I love trophies. Why wouldn't I come back?
Hey, no, next year we'll have a better budget. We'll get you an actual legitimate trophy.
We'll figure something out. We'll give you a consolation prize. We'll figure something out for you, Brady. But
Send me some McDonald's gift cards. Me and the Beagle like McDonald's for breakfast in the morning.
Oh, there we go. Get you some
McDonald's. I will get your address, and we will make that happen.
There we go. All right. Have a good night, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys. So thank you once again for Brady. Thank you for coming on talking about his show. I linked in our description here on our Facebook and also on ASAP. I have a link to the DallasCowboys.com /podcast. Check out his podcast, The Cowboy Life, and listen. I gotta see what that snowman thing's all about, Jake. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, me too. I was 3 years old when that happened, so
I gotta check that out. But all right, guys, let's keep moving forward with the three of us here. Black Monday, or we'll call it Terrible Tuesday now, because we got coaches and GMs fired. The latest being Joe Judge of the New York Giants. So we have Matt Nagy, Mike Zimmer, Brian Flores. I'm sure I missed maybe one or two, and then Joe Judge. But, I mean, man, we're going to talk about Flores a little bit more in a minute. But what were your thoughts on this? Pretty much expected for the most part?
Yeah, I can't, and I'm going to let Frankie go after me because I know he's got a lot to say. Matt, also there were some GMs fired. Spillman for the Vikings and Pace for Chicago, and obviously Gettleman. I think, I'm kind of confused with the Gettleman because it said Gettleman retired, but then it says
just a way of saying he got fired without.
Either way, Gettleman, and I think that there's a lot of people. Freddie Henderson from ASAP is probably one of them, probably the most happiest of
Freddie
the
Henderson wants to take that job, Dustin. That's who he wants to be, the Cowboys.
Hey, but you know what?
For the Giants.
But I think you get that from scratch, and I really think the Giants are on the right path. I think. And I was really glad that they let go of Judge. I think now that Gettleman is gone and Judge is gone, that puts the Giants, as long as they hire the right people, you know what I'm saying? That puts them in a position to get the right GM, the right coach, and then that can, set the tone for that team. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. We'll see. The Fangio one, I still think Fangio. I still think I didn't like that. I feel like he needed a quarterback to really right that ship, and he really just doesn't have a quarterback.
I think it was just 3 years of not getting the playoffs. I think losing records too, if I'm not mistaken, and not developing a quarterback because they thought Drew Lock was going to be something special. I mean, he still isn't, still a bottom tier quarterback in the NFL. I know they got Bridgewater who's hurt, but I mean, you can do better than both of those guys. Let's be real here. I'm sure there's someone out there, either in free agency or where on a backup spot somewhere that's better than both of those guys. But Frankie, what'd you think about everyone getting fired, man? It was. We're going to talk about Coach Flores and I think up next. But what do you think about Zimmer, Pace, Fangio, all of those guys getting let go?
This is all, we all expected it, especially Nagy. I'm really surprised with Zimmer. I thought they'll, give him at least, half of the year next year or something. But, hey, Jay was right about that one. I remember a couple weeks ago.
I think me and Jay both agreed on that, yeah.
Yeah, and Logan. Yeah, that's right. I'm the only one that mentioned Pete Carroll, and I'm still waiting. Honestly, I'm still waiting.
Me too, honestly. I agree with you, Frankie.
He's still there. They might stick with him, though, because you would thought they would have done something by now.
But what happens to Pete Carroll if Russell Williams leaves?
I think
where would he go from there?
I don't know how long his contract is for. Probably not for too much longer, I wouldn't guess. But if Wilson doesn't get an offensive line this offseason, he's gone. He's cooked. They're going to trade him. They're going to waive his no-trade clause. He's going to go somewhere. Because that's what he demanded pretty much this year. He didn't get it.
You know what's interesting to me? You know what's interesting to me is the whole thing with Zimmer interests me. I didn't realize how bad it was for the Vikings with Zimmer. I didn't realize that Zimmer had such a poor communication line with his whole team. But I mean, if you read the reports on that, people were basically scared to approach him because they were basically afraid that they were going to lose their jobs or what have you. So he had no chemistry on that team because of that. He had no open lines of communication on that. The players had no buy-in on that. So how the hell? Now I understand. I really do. I have a clear understanding of how a team who has such a good offense, let's just say they're almost damn near a mega offense, and a fairly decent defense could be so poor and lose so many games. It's because of Mike Zimmer and the way he approached coaching and the culture. We talk about culture, like the Lions culture, the Jags culture, the Bears culture, so forth. Now I understand because the Zimmer put a culture in place in Minnesota that no matter how good the talent was, the culture it was not good. I mean, you have bad culture, it's hard to win games, right, guys?
Yeah, I mean, and just to kind of to segue into Joe Judge for me, I mean, what do we see whenever everyone leaves Coach Belichick in that tree, right? They try to act like Coach Belichick, and they end up being fired in 2 or 3 years because they're all used to winning. They're all used to seeing what Bill does. I mean, rightfully so, right? He's probably the best coach in NFL history. So, of course, they're going to mimic what he does. But then you get these guys who haven't had success or who are struggling, who are rebuilding, and they just don't take to that. I mean, we've seen it with dozens of guys now at this point. I mean, there's not many successful Belichick tree-led head coaches, right? And so that's why with Joe Judge, he was what the special teams coordinator with them. Like, it didn't work. I mean, there's guys bringing golf clubs in the other week, and like I said, of course, the Giants went 4-12, whatever it was. But it was also Joe Judge in the media just kind of already saying he's going to be back and saying just all this stuff, attacking teams, right? He attacked the Washington football team for getting into a little bit of a scuffle, and they said everything was cool. And I think just his mouth got him in trouble more than the on-the-field stuff. That's what I think has got him fired.
I'm not surprised that Joe Judge fired. What I'm surprised is that they told him that he was going to stay. They wanted him to stay next year with Daniel Jones and see what they can do.
And then he wouldn't shut up. He would not shut up.
But then they seen the surprised fire of Brian Flores, which is still a shocker to me. And you know what?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, as a Patriot fan, you know, I would be excited, but it's a shocker. This is a man who honestly was 4-2 against Bill Belichick and the Patriots as a head coach of Miami. I understand he
swept them this year, right?
Huh?
He swept them this year. Because y'all didn't beat them.
He beat us. He beat us in week 1, and he beat us in week 18. So
I don't know how you fired him.
It goes to show a lot with Brian Flores.
Yeah, I'm going to switch.
But
it's a good segue into it, honestly.
Yeah. Look at that, Frankie. That's some top tier producing right there.
I'm kind of glad that the Giants moved from Joe Judge because now I have a theory in mind. Okay, I know a lot of Brian Flores because from when he was a defensive guy with the Patriots and stuff. He's from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. The Giants now have a vacant head coaching spot. Can this mean Brian Flores heads home and become the new head coach of the New York Giants? And if he does so, I believe because Deshaun Watson wanted to play for Brian Flores. Brian Flores was the reason Deshaun Watson was going to go. So now if Brian Flores can get hired by the Giants, will Brian Flores move on from Daniel Jones and get Deshaun Watson into New York? That would be amazing to see Deshaun Watson under center with Saquon Barkley behind him. With Kenny Galladay fully healthy next year. It'll be amazing.
But go ahead. I'm sorry, Logan. Go ahead.
I think that's actually a pretty good idea, Frankie, because like you said, the Giants need a complete culture change. Brian Flores, I know the Dolphins didn't have a winning season. They had a 7-game winning streak. I don't know the last time the Giants won 7 games. I mean, their record has pretty much been awful since Gettleman took over. He won like 14 games in his 4 years or something like that. So nothing good. Joe Judge wasn't the answer. The players didn't respect him. But you're in a weird situation now where Flores got fired, and a lot of people still don't understand why. Like, it came as a shock. And you see now that if he goes to New York, right? Because I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer. I don't. He just.
I know. He's not the answer.
He hasn't done enough in the 2, maybe 3 years he's been in the league to prove that he is that upper echelon, right? That he's going to really kind of get you to that next level. I just haven't seen it. Saquon,
he's like a backup. That's what he's.
Hey, but I want to say this.
He's a solid backup.
Let me say this real quick. So, and as you saw earlier, Daniel Reese put up there that Flores wanted Deshaun Watson, but Miami said no. So when we asked the question, do the Dolphins go after Deshaun Watson now that Flores is fired? Dustin, I don't know why he called you Daniel. It's Dustin Reese, which, by the way, he's a stat guy. I don't know why you're saying Dustin Reese when you're the stat guy. This guy is a stat guy. It's like a human calibrator. But anyway, listen. If Miami didn't want, if that really is the true reason why Flores is gone, then that pretty much answers the question that they are not going after Watson because Flores wanted Watson. So I'll tell you this: they are going to. I swear to God, Miami, you're idiots. You're going to regret. You're going to regret massively firing Brian Flores. And let me tell you something: Brian Flores already has an interview. His first interview is lined up with Chicago. Chicago, if you were listening to me, and if you were, Chicago, you better hire Brian Flores because this guy took a Miami team that had nothing and built them into something. And they're only a quarterback away from being truly, truly great and being in the Super Bowl conversation. Now let's fast forward. Chicago's got Justin Fields, which we all know. Justin Fields,
he's shown glimpses of
right development can be your guy.
Mm-hmm.
So what can he do with that? I think Brian Flores can do amazing things with Chicago, and I think he can actually right the ship and change the narrative and bring back the 85 Bears. I mean, I'm stretching for the 85 Bears, but he definitely can do amazing things, and I think Chicago would be stupid if they don't hire this guy.
I think just off the top of my head, I think Chicago probably the best option because he has that young quarterback he can develop. He's got he's got a pretty good defense. If he goes to Minnesota, right, he's got a pretty good team already, a team that, 2 years ago was in the NFC Championship. And if you go to the Giants, like Frankie said, you're going to get a new quarterback because like Damian Hernandez says, Daniel Jones is a better option than Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon. I mean, Mike Glennon, negative 10 yards, and Jake Fromm is just a person. But you could do better. I don't know, Frankie, because when we've talked about it here on the show, I mean, I haven't seen anything recently about Deshaun Watson and the allegations. I don't know if that's moving forward. I don't know what else is going on with that. So if it's getting cleared up, why not go for it? And, I mean, obviously, if it's not, then he don't need to be playing. That's all it is.
And if you think about it, if he goes to the Giants, all he has to change is that offensive line and chip up that defense. And he's already a defensive-minded guy.
He's already there.
He can change it. So
Justin's also saying that Flores wanted to stick with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but the owners forced Tua.
Since we're speaking of like coaches and things of that nature, I'm gonna get my list of coaches I think that are amazing, and Minnesota needs, and I get that. That's a good pick. Hey, look, this is my list of top coaches I think that are out there that are worth hiring and can do great things for your team. Number one is Aaron Durd. Now, who is Aaron Durd? He's a Cowboys defensive line coach, but he's got a great eye for talent, and he can connect and communicate with players. And Minnesota needs that. They need to build that communication and that culture. I'm just putting it out there. I think Aaron Durd, if you look at Aaron Durd, if you go back and look at him, he has a very impressive resume. Anyway, he's number one. He's number one. Hold on.
To me that you're naming some Cowboy coaches.
But I also have Brian Flores, Byron Leftwich. I think Byron Leftwich goes to Jacksonville. I think he's got hometown connections. I think he'd be great with that organization. We also have Matt Campbell from Iowa State, 3-time Pac-12 defensive or Pac-12 or Big 12 Coach of the Year. I think I don't know if he leaves Iowa, but I think that guy would be amazing. Jim Caldwell. If you don't know about Jim Caldwell, he's got a .545 winning percentage with the damn Detroit Lions. He won 36 games in 4 seasons. Hold on. He won 36 games in 4 seasons with the Lions, which we all know where the Lions are now. Right. So that just tells you how well he did with the Lions. He also was Peyton Manning with the Colts, where he went 24-8 in the regular season, and he was in Super Bowl 2009. So I don't know how Jim Caldwell could be a really good coach as well. Then you go on to Eric Bieniemy and Kellen Moore. So I think Bieniemy or Caldwell could do good things in Minnesota.
Yeah. We have comments here. Damian Hernandez saying Flores would be a good move to Chicago, but at the same time, not a good move because Flores is a defensive-minded coach. We need a coach that is not only a defensive-minded coach, but we need a coach that can. We also have Dustin saying he does, but Minnesota needs offensive mind, in my opinion.
You know what's a real shocker?
And that's right. Yeah, exactly.
The name that I don't want to be seen thrown around right now, Bill O'Brien, and that's being.
Oh hell no!
Bill O'Brien needs to be disqualified.
If
From being
anything,
You're not Bill O'Brien. I'm going to laugh all the way to the bank.
Keep him at Alabama. He's better as an offensive coordinator than he is.
And I'm going to say the same thing for Dan Quinn. For those people that are throwing Dan Quinn out there, Dan Quinn is an amazing defensive coordinator. In no shape or form does he need to be a head coach. Just leave him as defensive coordinator and let him be successful there. Honestly.
Yeah,
some guys are just better as coordinators. That's how it is.
The same thing with Josh McDaniels. He's a great offensive coordinator.
Well, absolutely. Well, you saw with Josh McDaniels. He tried the head coaching gig, Frankie, and that didn't work out for him. And he goes back and So teams need to stay away from Josh McDaniels. Let him ride with Bill Belichick. He's just saying that because he don't want Josh McDaniels leaving New England.
Once Bill Belichick goes into the sunset and ride off on his boat,
he just said that.
They're going to hand the reins over to Josh McDaniels.
No, but hey, for real, don't you think? I do think that Jim Caldwell is extremely overlooked. Because Detroit has never been the same or had even the closely remembrance of the same success as when Jim Caldwell was there. And I think Jim Caldwell could do great things in Minnesota or Bieniemy. I've been preaching Bieniemy for a long time, and he still hasn't gotten the damn job. So I think Bieniemy or Caldwell could both do a really good job over in Minnesota. And I think they build that culture.
And like I told you guys in our group chat, I said that Brian Flores is about to get Mark Jackson. Someone's going to step in for that good team.
And take over that.
They're going to take them to the playoffs. They're going to have success in the next couple of years.
Logan, Miami's got all kinds of cap room, lots of cap room, like 75
They got money to play with. They got a young team. They drafted well, and like I said, he's about to get Mark Jackson.
But they're a Phil General. Literally, they're a Phil General away from Super Bowl contention.
Tua might be that guy, right? He's still super young. We also have Jim Harbaugh to the Bears. 44-19-1 as NFL coach, 3 NFC title appearances, a Super Bowl, and 4-0 versus the Pats. I don't think he leaves Michigan. He don't leave Michigan. They did too good this year. Plus, he signed that big contract. You don't leave.
I don't think he leaves Michigan either. I think he's cemented. And
if Michigan sucked this year, if Michigan did not get to the Final Four, maybe, but they did. So that's what saved him, I think.
If Jim Harbaugh wanted to be in the NFL, he would have never left Sanford. I mean, they parted ways, but I'm pretty sure Jim Harbaugh could have.
He could pull a Pete Carroll. He could pull a Pete Carroll where you go to the NFL for a short period of time, then you go to the college, and you come back. I mean, that could happen. Right. I mean, there's nothing set in stone that says he wouldn't be entitled if the right situation gave it. And let's be honest, Miami is freaking attractive. But then again, I mean, Chicago could be attractive if he thinks he can develop Justin Fields. I mean,
the one coach that I see. I'm sorry. This is going to be quick. The one coach that I want to see move away is the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator. He's a really good-minded coach. He learned and he won Super Bowls with Bill Belichick and the Patriots. So this is, I can see him going to a team that I don't know who's going to interview him. I heard his name going get thrown out there, but I really do hope he gets hired somewhere because I want him out of Buffalo.
Just saying that Jim Harbaugh typically does not stay in one place more than 5 years. I mean, yeah, that's fair, but I think now that he's actually gotten the taste of success in Michigan, and I mean, they have a damn good team. They easily, there's a reason they were a top 4 team, and they won their championship game this year. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do next year. A lot of those guys are about to leave with Hutchinson being gone, probably the number 1 overall pick. So we'll see. But I think he does stay at least because I think he signed recently a contract extension for not too long, but at least a couple of years. So.
By the way, Dustin Reese's nickname is called Wikipedia. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I like it. I love it. That's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, speaking, maybe he could throw some stats our way here. Who is better? Because we saw this on Saturday, Frankie, and we immediately jumped on it.
Yeah, we did.
Do you remember who said this, Jay? Do you remember who said who commented this? Because for the life of me, I cannot off the top of my head.
It came in on a comment. It came in on a comment for the show. And for the life of me, I don't have a good memory to recall that either.
I'm going to go on our Facebook.
I liked it.
Yeah, I'm going to go on our Facebook.
I think it was Anthony Price. I think Anthony Price is the one that came in. Yeah.
All right, I'll believe it. Anthony Price. That's why we listen to the fans because y'all give good ideas. So this is a hot topic going around the NBA. So who's better, Allen Iverson or Kyrie Irving? I think Durant said Kyrie. Some other guys are saying Kyrie. So let's go, Frankie. Who's better?
AI.
You see that grid? You see that grid?
AI to me is better, but ball handling wise and stats wise and everything, not stat wise, but ball handling and everything, I gotta give it to Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie's he's a monster, you know. But AI did something. He changed the game of basketball for point guards back in the day, and most point guards today will say they grew up and watched and learned and loved AI. So AI to me is the best, you know, over Kyrie. But ball handling wise and everything, I have to give it to Kyrie. This is a really good topic. I can't. It's hard.
All right, Jay.
Yeah, here's my deal. I think AI is your athletic quickness. He's a better penetrator than Kyrie. If this was a no-touch defense, like today's game is a no-touch defense, AI would be leading in foul shots. He would be your foul shot leader right now. That's how good he was. And I agree. I think that Kyrie had the better handles. If you look at the stats, okay, Kyrie was the better shooter. He was a more pure shooter. His field goal percentage in terms of everything was a lot better. And I had that pulled up, and I wanted to show that real quick. And no, I don't. Well, okay. If you look at our points per game, Kyrie's averaging 27. Allen Iverson averaging 33. Rebounds per game. You look at Kyrie's 5.5, and Iverson's 4.9 assists. Kyrie's 6, and Allen Iverson's 7. I think if you want a guy with handles and a more pure shooter, you're going to go with Kyrie. If you want a guy that's quickness, explosive, and will get to the foul line, the foul shot a lot, then you're going to go with AI. Both are great. Both are are a little bit different animals in their own respects. I think I'm going to give the tip. I'm going to give the tip just a tiny bit to Kyrie, only because he's a better shooter. That's the only reason I'm giving it to Kyrie.
Dustin saying AI is the better offensive player. Kyrie is better overall when he plays. That's the key, is when he plays. Irving came.
Yes. When
Iverson was the first point guard that was a true offensive guy.
And what Dustin is doing, he's throwing the intangibles in there, right? I mean, we're looking at who's the better players in terms of what they've done on the court. But then if you look at the intangibles, on my team, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. If I had to choose between Kyrie and Allen Iverson, I'm going Allen Iverson every day of the week, because Allen Iverson has the heart of a lion, and he will do whatever it takes for that team to freaking win. Kyrie, on the other hand, is a little bit more selfish. He's a little bit more all about him, and I don't like that all about him type of player.
It's interesting too, because when you look at these guys, right, they're similar in a lot of aspects, but they're also different in some. Iverson, he was great, All-Star, Hall of Famer, All-NBA, MVP, all that stuff. And I think I would give the slight edge to Iverson only because he led that 2000-2001 team, Frankie, to the championships against the Lakers with a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of guys who could be working at Walmart. And, no disrespect to any of them, right? Eric Snow, I think Dikembe was there and whatnot. But Kyrie hasn't done that, right? He's had someone with him. He's had LeBron. He's had he's had a bunch of a better cast around him throughout his career. Also, Damian saying AI can stay healthy, Irving can't. That's also a good point. Also, something I saw here, I was looking at their stats, right? And of course, you're going to give Kyrie a better 3-point shooting because he shoots it more. That's just what the game has evolved. In terms of just field goal attempts, right, when it comes for the two of them. So for three-pointers, I just had it here somewhere. All right, so for three-pointers attempted in their career, Kyrie's already shot more. He's like 100 less than AI, and Kyrie's going to keep playing for years. But in terms of two-pointers, right, whether it's shots, layups, whatever it is, Allen Iverson shots over 7,000, and Kyrie is only at about, what was he at? Oh, excuse me. For 2-pointers attempted, Allen Iverson 16,000. Kyrie is only at 7,000. So that lets you know how much the game's changed in the last 20 years. Iverson, I think, has the slight edge on defense because let's remember he averaged about 2-3 steals a game. So he gives him a slight edge there. But man, I would just give the slight edge to Allen Iverson just because, like Jay said, he has that killer instinct, right? whenever it's tough in the playoffs, he might not shoot amazing, but he's always going to will his team to try and get the victory. And with Kyrie, I don't think he has that. I mean, yes, he has a championship, but I just give the slight edge to Allen Iverson. They're both great players, though. Both great. But, all right, that's my pick, and I am sticking with it. But, all right, well, Frankie said that you have to go soon, buddy. You got to get ready for work. So we'll let you go ahead and head on out, get ready for your night of work here on Tuesday. So good luck tonight, man. We will talk to you on Thursday, hopefully, and have a good night, my friend.
Love you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. All right, see you then, man. All right, we have some comments here I was missing because I was going on my soapbox, Jay. AI was the 90s and early 2000s version of John Morant without the hop. That's a good comparison.
That's a good point.
That's because, I mean, Iverson was 5'6", 5. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but he was short, right? He didn't dunk much.
AI was definitely a very. I think was he pushing right at 6 or was he below 6?
Excuse me, Iverson was 6 foot, exact 6 foot.
Yeah, I think he was right at the 6 mark.
John Morant is 6'3", so a little bit more height. I didn't think it was too short.
I still love Iverson though, man. He has such a heart. Not that Morant don't.
No, because I mean, you're seeing it now with Morant's MVP-like season. He's got some heart. Also, that Sixers team has the talent. They were known for exactly. They were a defensive-minded team. That's what got them that far. And Iverson, I mean, obviously he didn't play a whole lot of defense, but he was their main offensive weapon. There's no denying that. Irving has more threes because that's how the game's changed. That's what we're saying. Curry changed the game. Teams used to shoot 15 to 20 per game, and now you have guys shooting more threes than twos. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think the earth is flat and water is dry to say. And then Dustin said the last I think he meant 5 to 10. He meant 5 to 10 threes per game. And I mean now we're seeing 5 to 10 shot per 5 minutes pretty much. So that's just how the game's changed. And in terms of driving ability, like getting to the hoop, I'll give it to Iverson. In terms of pure shooting, I'll give it to Kyrie. Handles, God, the handles are so close, man. They're because good God, they're both good with the ball in their hand.
You know what? Do you think Mike D'Antoni kind of brought about the whole 3-point line or rebounds being the only options and basically killing off the mid-range jumper?
Yeah, I think D'Antoni and then also obviously Steph Curry.
But I think it happened. What I'm saying is I think D'Antoni had already started the transition of that way before Steph Curry did. I think Steph Curry was good at it. I think he's the guy that made it whatever. But I think the actual transition of it happened when D'Antoni came about.
So Dustin said 3.8 steals per game that season for 2001 for the final. That's insane, Jay. Almost 4 steals a game.
Yeah.
Crazy. Also, Ben Sutter saying good evening, and he's got to go with Allen Iverson. Both these guys are talented. They're both going to be obviously one's a Hall of Fame, the other one's going to be. I mean, they're both on the the top 75 squad. So, I mean, they're both great, and that's kind of one of those things where you can just debate it back and forth and tit for tat. But that's our takes on it. And thanks to Mr. Price for that suggestion on Saturday's show. If you guys have any other topics you want us to cover, please drop a comment. We'll do it on Thursday, Saturday, or whenever. So please drop a comment if you have any topic, because we always love interacting with our fans. Like Dustin, if you got a stats thing you want to throw at us, Damian, Ben, we'll take it, man. But let's keep it going. Some basketball, Jane. Should the Celtics keep the trio of Brown, Tatum, and Smart, who they just signed Smart to a contract extension, or should they blow them up and start trading some pieces off? I mean, the Celtics haven't had the best season right now. Let me check the standings. They are currently number 10, so they're in the play-in game, but they're 20-21. And I just think they got to be a little bit better.
Right.
Irving will not be in the Hall of Fame. Too much on-the-court drama to get. They don't care about none of that.
Oh.
They don't care about none of that. They look at the numbers. He's going to make it. He's going to make the Hall of Fame.
Justin Reese, man. You got me on that one.
He's going to make it.
You had me, man.
He's going to make it.
You had me. But that one I got to disagree with. That one, I think Irving does make it in the Hall of Fame, even though I don't like Irving.
Right. You might not like someone personally, like a Terrell Owens or Chad, just people, guys like that who are.
I mean, he does have an NBA championship, and he was part responsible for it. So I think you do get. But on this current topic, Logan,
let's keep it going.
This is what I think. I think the Celtics are a point guard away from being really, really good. And as we were talking about earlier with other networks, they were basically saying that, the Celtics don't typically draft, point guards. They typically draft, and I think it was Pride that said that. They typically draft shooting guards and other players, but point guards not really typically draft. And I think that they are a point guard away from doing that. Now, it's also been said that their two best players are one that comes off the bench and one that's already, playing. So how do you manage that?
It's tough, Jay, because their current point guards are Marcus Smart, right? And he's more of a defensive guy more than anything. Peyton Pritchard and is Dennis? I see Dennis. I'm looking at the Celtics depth chart here on ESPN. I don't watch him a lot, but it says he's the third string point guard. So I don't know if he's.
But he's not the answer. He wasn't the answer. He wasn't even the answer in LA.
They don't have that that really talented point guard that they need. We see here. Dustin saying they need a point guard like they have with Rondo. Yeah, that's what they need. They need someone like Rondo. And Dustin, I saw something for you because I was looking this up. Should they go after Ricky Rubio whenever he comes back from injury? Because he's a veteran, right? He can shoot a little bit better than Rondo. Right. Should they go after Ricky Rubio? Put your comment there if they should go after him. Celtics need CP3. They're not getting CP3.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
He's sticking out there.
Let me tell you what's going to happen with CP3. I guarantee it, and I'm saying this out loud. CP3 retires his son. I don't think he leaves his son.
Because he's what, 36, 37 almost, maybe 38, one of the three, in between there.
Yeah.
And
the Celtics are too good of a team for him to want to leave.
Yeah. I'm looking here, Jay, and also Celtics legend Bob Cousy said that the Celtics need to get a point guard. And that's the crazy thing, Jay, is you thought they would have had it when they had Kemba Walker. It just didn't work.
Right.
And now Kemba's playing. Who the hell is Kemba playing for? Oh, the Knicks.
He's playing for the Knicks.
Yeah, he's playing for the Knicks. He said, I don't think they need Rubio. They need to draft a point guard or find one in free agency next year. So let me pull up NBA free agents for, I guess, 2022 it would be, and see who else the point guards could be. Yeah, so let me see, Jay. So some of the point guards available in 2022. All right, let me sort it by position here, and we will get things going. All right, so some of the point guards available next year we have John Wall, right? He ain't doing nothing in Houston. He's older, but he's 31 right now. Westbrook's gonna be a free agent. I don't know if you go after him. Kyrie's gonna be a free agent. Ooh, go back to Boston? No, that ain't gonna work. He's got some here. John Wall, Bradley Beal. I thought Bradley Beal was more of a shooting guard, if I'm not mistaken. Gordon.
Did you see Bradley Beal? I
thought Beal was a shooting guard. It might be mistaken. Maybe he was this year. I'm not sure. Maybe he was this year.
John Wall's. Let's be honest. John Wall's contract is a no-go.
Yeah. Gordon Dragic might be good. Yeah, that's a veteran who can still play. I don't know if Colin Sexton leaves only because I just saw that the Cavs extended Colby Allard, I believe, their GM to like 2027. Because Jay, they already surpassed their win total already from last year. So I don't think Sexton leaves. The Celtics need Zion. It would be a great fit for both sides, health-wise and Celtic basketball-wise. I think, Damian, that if Zion goes anywhere, it's to the Knicks. I gotta believe it. Because it says he ever since the draft day, they asked him. He's like, "Would you love to be a New York Knicks?" Like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." He can play. Okay, so he can't play point guard. That might be a good idea, Jay.
I think depending on how much cap room you have available, I think you're either looking at Bradley Beal or Goran Dragic. I say Goran Dragic only because I think he's going to be a little bit more cap friendly. I think he'll be a little more cap friendly than Beal would be. And I don't know if Beal leaves Wizards. I think Beal is like one of those guys that's going to retire a Wizard and be done.
Really? Okay. Unless they trade him, of course.
They could. That's true. They could do that.
Also said Jalen Brunson from Dallas is the perfect point guard for Boston. That's probably going to be a pretty easy cap salary right there. I don't think Brunson's probably worth a whole lot. So we'll see. But I still think they hang on to him. I feel like the time is running down, right? Because they've had this trio for a couple of seasons, and they haven't, they did good early on. That's the thing, Jay, is whenever they were getting all those draft picks, they ain't done nothing with them.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you got these guys, but you don't have a bench really. You don't have guys around them. You don't have a point guard. So I mean, yeah, it was cool they were getting 15 first-round draft picks, but they didn't really do a whole lot with them.
Right.
And I think that window's finally ran out. Because that was going on for 5 years. So, well, let's keep moving in the NBA. So we saw the other night, Klay Thompson finally, after close to 1,000 days, back on the court with the Warriors. So how is this going to change the season for them, man? Because I know he didn't shoot the best, but he still put up a good amount of points. And it's a good decoy, even if he is going to struggle a little bit with Klay Thompson. So what do you think? Are you happy to see him?
They do struggle a whole lot. When he came back on, he played 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, he went 7 of 18 from the field goal line. He went 3 from 8 from the 3-point land. So for 17 points, and then he had 3 rebounds.
He missed it.
Yeah, he had 3 rebounds and 1 assist. So I think for a guy who's been out of the league for 2 years to come back and play 20 minutes and have 17 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist, I mean, I think that's great. And look, he's going to get as time goes on, as we gear up, and we head to the playoffs. He's gonna get more and more acclimated. So I think that by the time we get to the playoffs, I think Klay Thompson should be back to his form prior to injury in terms of his shooting and playing. So I think that by the time we get to the playoffs, Klay Thompson's going to be the guy, and the Dub boys are going to be reunited in full once again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are now even more better for the title. I mean, my God, it's Klay Thompson's back.
Right.
I mean, I'm happy to see him back. Because the league missed him. I mean, because I saw back the last time he played, Russell Westbrook was a Rocket, and all these guys were on these old teams. And
right.
I'm happy to see him back. It makes the Warriors even better. I don't know how long Weissman's going to be out for, but once they get him back fully in the rotation, that's going to be even more dangerous. I mean, they got a good fit with Wiggins. And it's just going to be even more scary. So watch out. It's going to be fun to watch, though. All right, going over some baseball now because, God, there's nothing to talk about baseball-wise, Jay. They're in a lockout. There's nothing going. No one's able to get signed. The league, they said I think they're finally going to talk in a few days. But, my God, it's just been weeks without nothing.
Right.
And to me, the owners can't sign nobody. It just sucks. But finally, some positive news, right? Rachel Balkovec is the first woman to manage a minor league team in the Yankees system. Jay, what's your thoughts on this, man? Women breaking some more boundaries and some more barriers here in sports. I gotta love to see it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. If you don't know anything about Rachel, she's got a very interesting story. So obviously she's the head coach of the Tampa Tarpons.
Yep.
She was before she became head coach, she was the hitting coach in 2019 with the Yankees. Now, what's interesting to me, her being a hitting coach, is if you know her background is primarily in strength and conditioning.
Right.
So you think to yourself, well, how the hell is a person
she's got some
with
good forearms on her, Jay. She's in some good shape there. You can see her. Hold
on now. How is somebody in strength and conditioning going to become a hitting coach and then become a head coach? Well, obviously it was strength and conditioning because of the Cardinals from 2012 to 2015. She was the Astros strength and conditioning coordinator for Latin America in 2016. A little bit more background on her. She was a catcher on softball teams for Creighton and New Mexico State. That's her background. But this is where I think she gets really, really good. And I think she has a future in professional baseball. And this is where I think she is. Number one, she knows Spanish. She's self-taught in Spanish. And if you know anything about baseball, if you know anything at all about baseball, it's primarily heading in a Latin direction in terms of their players. If you know anything at all about baseball, it's very much Latin driven. Not that you don't have some Asian born players or actual American players, but it's got a heavy influence of Latin America into it. So that means whoever your coach is, in order to have a very good connection, it really helps that your head coach has Spanish knowledge. Okay, that's number one. Number two, she worked at Driveline Baseball. Now you say, what is Driveline Baseball? It's a data-driven training center. And what does that mean? It means, and it's in Washington State. It means that she researched eye tracking for hitters and hit movement for pitchers. So this girl not only knows Spanish, not only knows strength and conditioning, she has a degree in kinesiology.
I don't know how to spell that. I don't know what it is.
Hey, and on top of it, she's been to a research center for eye tracking of the baseball and hit pitcher movement.
Yeah.
Now, I would tell you right now.
One more thing, just one more thing there before you go on. She's only 34.
Yeah, she's young.
She's 34. Yep.
She's young. What I'm saying is, look. You got what they call 5-tool baseball players, and that's what you covet, a 5-tool baseball player. And in my opinion, she's a 5-tool coach. The only thing that she needs to be successful at the Major League Baseball level is experience.
Yep. And
that's it. You give her some experience, and she's going to be probably, I would say, one of the best coaches in the MLB because she has all the analytical stuff that it takes. All she needs is the experience level. And she's already been dabbling in that. Yeah, exactly. I do. All I'm saying is this. I'm just saying, listen, there are women coaches in Major League Baseball already. They're just not head coaches. I'm saying I really believe in her, and given her age, given her skill sets, and the only thing lacking is experience, that Rachel Balkovec will be the first woman MLB coach. Oh, I will say this. On her resume, she was going by Rachel Balkovec, and she was getting, and with all these credentials, she was getting nothing. Nada. Zero crickets. She changed her name to Ray on her profile. And guess what, Logan? She was getting hit right and left. Up until they found out that she was a woman. And then once they found out she was a woman, two things happened. One, she would either A, get no calls at all back once they found out that she was a woman, or B, they said that they just flat out told her, we don't hire women.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
2022.
Hey, I'm just saying.
You know.
You can make it up.
No, I mean, you can't. I mean, that also just shows that some mindsets of teams, organizations, whatnot, they'll just never change, right? But happy for her, the first ever female-led coach in the minor leagues. Going to be, like I said, in Tampa for the low A affiliate with the Yankees. And I hope they do great. We're going to be, once the minor league season kicks off in a little while, we're going to be seeing how she does. But like you said, you ran down her resume really good. I can't say any more, but best of luck to her. And also, too, whenever I was researching her, I found another just really good female-based baseball topic. Genevieve Beacom, who is 17, she became the first woman to pitch for a professional baseball team in Australia this past weekend.
Oh,
she's only 17. She's only 17, so she's going to try put her work there and maybe even try to go to college and be the first female-led pitcher for a college team. So we'll see how she does there. So best of luck to both those great women on their respective paths as player and as coach. So we'll definitely be...
Doors are opening, Landon. Doors are opening, right?
Yes, they are. You got to love to see it. All right, do a little bit of hockey. We like to throw a little bit of hockey here. Well, first, we got Damon saying there needs to be a women's major league. I mean, honestly, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but after you're done with softball in college, right, I don't think there is a professional softball league. Or at least one that's not really well marketed.
But that's the thing about baseball. Baseball is all about, it's not, look, a woman can survive in baseball because you're not talking about physically going out with somebody and touching them. All you got to do is be able to hit the ball, catch the ball, and throw the ball.
Right.
If you can do those three things, look, you ain't got to hit the ball over the fence. All you got to do is get a base hit.
As long as you hit it in between someone, you good.
Yeah. So why couldn't it be integrated is my point.
Yeah.
At some point.
Right. At some point. All right, Jay, going to the hockey, going on the ice here. NHL standings update. So I'll cover the Eastern Conference, and I'll let you handle the Western Conference. So I'll start off with the Eastern. Carolina Hurricanes up first. They have 50 points, tied with the New York Rangers at 50 apiece. Washington right behind them with 49. The Pittsburgh Penguins with 45. Columbus Blue Jackets 33. Philadelphia Flyers with 33. New Jersey Devils with 33. And the New York Islanders with 26. That is in the Metropolitan Division. Up next, we have the Atlantic. The Florida Panthers up top with 51 points. Tampa Bay Lightning with 51. The Toronto Maple Leafs with 47. Boston Bruins with 40. The Detroit Red Wings with 36. Buffalo Sabres 26. Ottawa Senators with 20. And the Montreal Canadiens at last with 18 points. Jay, I'll let you go and take over the Western Conference.
Hey, real quick, Dustin, if you got stats on NHL, you're going to impress the hell out of me. Because everybody's got stats on MLB, NBA, and NFL. If you got stats on the hockey league, then you go to numero uno at ASAP. You go to numero uno at ASAP. So we'll see. We'll see if Dustin can come up with any kind of crazy NHL stats for us. I don't think he can, but maybe he impresses me. Okay, we'll go to the Western Conference now.
Let's do it.
Hey, are we just doing the playoffs? Are you doing the playoffs, or are you just doing it in general?
I'm just doing it in general for their divisions right now.
Well, you know what amazes me is when I see hockey in non-northern states doing well, because typically the demographic doesn't seem to follow as much in the South as it in the North, because we don't come in high school. Like in high school, you kind of develop your liking of sports based on what you play in high school. Oh, I want to know everything, Dustin. I want to know everything. Hey, listen, but you typically
who was the points leader?
Hey, typically, Logan, you're a product of your environment. And in my high school, we didn't have NHL, and I come out of Houston.
Bro, we don't even have ice here. I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have an ice rink anywhere near me.
Right. But I'm just saying, listen, okay, let's go over. Nashville is at 36 Nashville is at 23-11 at number 1 in the Central, followed up by St. Louis at 21-10 and Colorado at 22-8. Then you move on to the Pacific League, and I don't know who VGK is. Who the hell is VGK?
Oh, the Vegas Golden Knights. There you go, Jay.
Okay, that didn't prove my point. How the hell is Vegas number 1 at 23-14 in the Pacific League? I mean, they just came. That's a pretty new team, correct? They haven't been around.
They've been around for a couple of seasons. I think 2017, 18.
Right, maybe maybe 4 or 5 seasons. I guess I'm guessing now.
Yeah, but still, one of the expansion teams is up top.
So you got the Vegas Knights at 23-14, followed by the Anaheim Ducks at 19-12. And you know what's interesting to me is that all your northern teams, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Seattle, whatever, they're all doing horrible. Do you think is that more of a marketing, or why are these northern cities doing so terrible? And that's not even just for the Pacific. The Central, you got Winnipeg, Chicago, down there at the bottom as well. Why are these more southern cities doing so well?
They're dominating for whatever reason, Jay. I don't understand it.
And I guess because I don't follow hockey as much as the next guy, but
yeah,
it amazes me.
So the last time, Jay, a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup was, it looks like, let me see here, 1993. So before I was even born, the Montreal Canadiens were the last Canadian-based team to win the Stanley Cup. So there you go, Dustin. There's my stat there. He said here, here's the stat, Jay. Alexander Ovechkin has averaged 39.5 goals since joining the Washington Capitals. If he averages 33 goals over the next 5 seasons, he takes over Wayne Gretzky for the most goals of all time.
That's interesting.
Also, Vegas went to the Stanley Cup final in their first year, correct? But they ended up losing, though, in a close series. And also, he said too many taxes in Canada. That's why all the good Canadian players want to come stateside, especially down south, because, Jay, Florida does not have a state tax. So that's why Florida is kicking ass in Tampa for the Panthers.
It makes sense. I mean, let's be honest. You go where the money's at, right? And if you got lower taxes, I get that. And that makes absolute sense, Dustin. I will say this. The wild card round in the Western area is Minnesota, Calgary, and San Jose. Those are really your top three in the wild card round in the Western Conference. And I will say this. Dallas is really hurting, man. Dallas, I think, is playing right at 17-13. They haven't won a record, but they're definitely not anywhere near the playoff contention yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is your standings up there for the NHL. We're going to try and keep up a little bit better with it now that the season's underway, and we're gonna become some stat heads, Jay, with some hockey. We're gonna find a team.
I definitely am, because I've always known about the Dallas Stars a little bit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we have the Dallas Stars. They used to be the Minnesota. This is what I know. They used to be the Minnesota Stars that became the Dallas Stars. They won a Stanley Cup many years ago, and of course after that they've been a middle rung team. Like, they've been competitive, much like the Mavericks. They've been pretty competitive, but they just have not been able to get over that hump to get back to the Stanley Cup playoffs, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't have a bone in this fight. I mean, I'm from Georgia, born and raised. I ain't got a team, right? The Thrashers left long ago, unfortunately. I did go to a couple of Thrashers games when I was growing up, so that was always fun to go to. I know the team always sucked for the most part. Had a great logo, had some great colors.
Let me ask you a question.
I ain't got a team.
I want to ask you a question. I got to ask you this because I don't know the answer either. Was as violent and strategic as hockey is, because hockey is a very violent sport. If you don't know, if you never watched a hockey game, hockey is very violent.
The most vicious, yeah.
But it's also very strategic in the way that they move the puck, much like soccer is. Like, hockey is the same as soccer. The only difference is one's on ice and one's on dirt.
Grass,
that's the only damn difference between hockey and soccer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're going for.
Why hasn't hockey in the American world, or even in the podcasting, or I'm going to go a step further, even on television sports, why has hockey not caught on as much as other sports, given the aggressiveness and the violence in it?
I think because they did just sign a deal with ESPN not too long ago for the Stanley Cup for the next 5-10 years, whatever it is, right? So I think they're hoping that that's going to try and create more fan base around it. But it's kind of like what you said, right? It's not really marketed here in the South, right? We're in Georgia. We don't have a hockey team. I don't see anything on ESPN. I don't see anything on Twitter, right? From the Bleacher Reports and sport. I don't see nothing. Hardly any hockey highlights on my feeds. I have to go out and search for it. I think just poor marketing, especially for us down here in the South. That's just my experience. But like the Midwest, the North, especially up in Canada, people love it. I mean, people.
But I think it's more accessible. I think because you're grown up on that, right? It's more accessible. You got ice up there, you got things like that, right?
Because it's like in like Dustin said, Detroit Red Wings all around. I'll use that as an example. You have the Red Wings, who were like a dynasty in the 90s, right? They were a really good team they're one of the best teams in NHL history. So you might your dad, your grandfather, whoever, they might love the Red Wings. You might grow up a diehard Red Wings fan the way that you grew up a Cowboys fan, or like I grew up a Raiders fan or a Braves fan. That's just how it is. And it's kind of different because, like I said, in Detroit, you have pretty much everything you can look for, right? You got the Tigers in baseball. You got the Red Wings in the NHL. You got the Pistons in basketball. So I mean, you have access to all these teams, and it's like for me and you, we don't have access to a hockey team here in Georgia. Well, there's no one to go watch. There's minor league stuff, yeah, but I mean, you don't have the big ticket items, the big market, like a lot of those other cities do. And Dustin also said here that hockey needs to do away with the point system and go with straight wins and losses. So interesting take there. Dustin, how many years have they been doing the point system? Because I know it's still somewhat new. How long have they been doing the points? Because I know it's based on if you get an overtime win, you get an extra point. Even if you lose, Jay, you get a point. So describe the point system to us, Dustin. We'll put up here on the show. He also said, Jay, the Dallas Stars won a Stanley Cup in 2002, and then they got back to the Stanley Cup not that long ago. So,
Right.
I mean, not recent success, but, last 20. I mean, you got a title 20 years ago. So, there you go.
Sorry about that. I know I'm on my phone now, Logan. Hey, we talked so much that my computer died on me.
You ain't got a charger for that thing, Jay? Jesus. No,
Hey, you got to go what you got to go with. But hey, just to round out the whole thing was, I think that is some. I don't know if do people from the South ever get drafted into the NHL? I don't think that really happens very often, right?
I mean, guys from Florida, I'm sure, right? Because you would think they place them there, but I don't. I'm gonna look it up here. Whenever I'll let you talk about this first. I'm curious how many guys from Georgia are in the NHL right now.
That might be
that'd be
a topic for Thursday show or whatever. We'll get back to that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get our final topic here, and we'll round things out for the night. Best brother combinations in sports, because we were just talking. We didn't have this topic, but T.J. Watt tied the all-time sack record with Michael Strahan. What an amazing accomplishment! So obviously, you got to put him and J.J. on there, right? In terms of best brothers.
Hey, look. Here's how I got it. I got top brother combination, top sister combination. My top brother combination, just for what they did, has got to be Eli Manning and Peyton Manning, because they both have 2 Super Bowls apiece. That's 4 Super Bowls between 2 siblings. And you know how hard it is, Logan, to win a Super Bowl.
Well, on 2.
Number 1. So to have two-time brothers in the same family, that feat has got to be damn near impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Peyton and Eli as my best brother combination, just given how hard it is to win 1 Super Bowl, and then not only do you win 1, but you win 2. In terms of best sister combinations, I don't know how you look past Venus and Serena Williams.
Yeah, you got to throw them up there.
Because Serena's got 23 Grand Slams. Venus has 7 individual titles. And then when you look at the doubles pairings, they got 14 Grand Slams as the doubles, and they got 3 Olympic gold medals. So, I mean, honestly, we said brother combinations, but quite honestly, it could be sister combinations. Yeah. And, what Venus and Serena have accomplished is just stupid. And what Payline and Eli did as a family is just stupid.
Yeah, they've really done great. I mean, obviously, I got to throw the Gasols out there with Mark and Powell. Both of them have rings, both really good NBA players. Seth and Steph Curry, the 2 Curry brothers. They're both doing. Steph's got a couple of rings, MVPs. Seth is probably one of the most efficient 3-point shooters in the league right now. Like you said, I mean the Williams sisters, top notch. I mean there's so many, right? Obviously the Mannings, Peyton and Eli, got to throw them up there. Also another one just kind of randomly came to my head. Reggie Miller and his sister Cheryl, because she was a great player. I mean, there's a ton. I'm sure we're forgetting about. I mean, both the Hardballs, right? Great coaches. We can throw that in there. So I mean, there's a ton. I mean, you see the balls up there. They're still a little too early for LaMelo, but so far it's looking good. I mean, so it just proves that there's some good genes. And I looked it up. Going back to the Georgia player or all-time hockey players in the NHL in Georgia. Guess how many players throughout the entire NHL have played in the league from just the whole state of Georgia? Just guess how many players.
So how many players out of Georgia? I'm going to go with maybe. I'm going to take a shot in the dark. I'm just going to say 15.
Not even close. It is a total of 3. 3 players from Georgia have ever been in the NHL. It's Mark Mowers, Eric Chouinard, and Jean-Marc Pelletier. Mowers it looks like Mowers was the best. He had 18 goals and 62 points in 278 games. He played for the Predators, the Red Wings, the Bruins, and the Ducks. He is from Decatur, Georgia. He played in 3 postseason games with the Red Wings during the 2006 Stanley Cup playoffs. So,
and you know what? The thing about that is, Logan, I don't think
you're
ever really going to see that many players from the South really, truly ever get into the NHL. And it's only because in the South, it would be too expensive for a person to try to learn hockey. I mean, where are you going to – there's no rinks for it, truly, outside the professional realm. You don't play it in high school. You don't play it in Little League. Nobody grows up on it. So I think the hockey, for the most part, is always going to be a northern type of sport.
Yeah, because, I don't live anywhere near a hockey rink. I don't know where the closest one is. Everyone around me grew up playing basketball, football, and baseball, right? We didn't have – in gym class, we didn't have ice hockey week. We had roller hockey, right, where you go on skates, like the roller skates or whatever with the orange ball. And, that was cool, but, it's not the same. And
you know what I would be interested to know? I would be interested to know if any listeners that are listening to this broadcast, if you're from the North, did you have high school or did you have hockey as a sport in high school?
Yeah, because we didn't have a hockey team. We had, baseball, football, basketball, volleyball, all that stuff. But I'm curious. Kind of like lacrosse, too, I guess. Lacrosse. Some schools have lacrosse teams. Some schools don't.
Oh, we had lacrosse. Oh, we had lacrosse, soccer, swimming, all that kind of stuff we had. But obviously nobody's going to build a hockey rink. You know how hard, expensive to build a hockey rink would be? That'd be stupid.
In the heat in Georgia, you ain't. And also, too, you don't know how just kind of different cultures are just across the U.S., Jay. My high school had a fishing team. And when up north, did you have a fishing team? Did you have an ice fishing team or anything like that? I'm curious. Drop a comment. I just want to know. But yeah, so that's the way. That's the way it is in the South. Hockey ain't marketed very well, and it sucks. It's great to watch. It's fun to watch. I love watching.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't have a team to root for. So someone give me a team to root for, right? Someone send me some merch, and I'll be a fan of that team. I'll go with there. So I will go with that. But I think that is our last topic. It is. All right, Jay. We have finished out the night here on Tuesday. Thank you once again to Brady Tinker for coming on, the fantasy football champion for our 2020-2021 Unscripted League. Once again, thank you to everyone who participated in our league. It was a great year. Brady came out top. Jay almost came in, got the second place trophy. Frankie came in fourth. So two guys from Unscripted, at least we're in the final four. Not too shabby in our first season. Like I said, Jay popping the champagne over there. So like I said, we might do it for a different sport. We might do it for baseball when that comes around in December of 2022 when it starts. The way it's looking right now, we'll see what else we can throw out there. But like I said, for our guest Brady Tinker, for our other co-host Frankie C, who had to leave, for my guy Jay McLovin, thanks so much for all the talks about sports, debating, and all the fun stuff, all the stuff we had tonight. Everyone commenting, man. We've had a lot of comments the last couple of shows. Shout out to Dustin Reese for all the fun stuff he had. Damian Hernandez, of course, Ben Southerth in there as well. And if I'm missing anyone, I'm sorry. And also Daniel Baugh had one earlier in the year or in the show. Mike Hughes with the hate on Jay earlier in the show. So thank you guys for all the comments. It means the world to us. And if you want to come on the show, we do post on our Facebook each and every show. Go over there, check it out, and click here, allow your audio, allow your video, and talk some sports. And thanks, guys. So we go live Tuesdays, Thursdays, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Saturdays at 8. Like I said, for everyone here on Unscripted, I've been your host, Logan Landers. Guys, have a great night, and we will talk to you on Thursday. We will see you then.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.